Let's hit the go live. Despite all the Discord pings, I know YouTube itself lets people know the stream has started, so as per usual,
the enemy would not hold back.
Shut the fuck up, you two abs. Abs, yes, you two's abs. Alright, we need to restart. That was a disaster, and then a disaster covering the disaster, and then a triple disaster after that. You must have cut yourself deep? Yeah, I took a chunk out of my finger when I was slicing some cheese on a cheese grater. It was brutal. But we're here. Time to do the audio check. Usual.
The enemy would not.
Yeah, okay, we sound good. We sound good. Hey guys. So like I was trying to say before my tongue fell out of my mouth, we are going to slow roll this just a little bit, let some people gather. When we actually get into the replays, there are only 5 games today, as it has been for the last couple streams like this. It gets going pretty darn quick, so if people hop in late, they'll miss a lot of it, so I'll at least give them a fighting chance of showing up on time. What up, Samarik? I changed the background for you in Great Book of Grudges, so you stop being mad at me. Change to the background of the Tomb Kings one. For now. Alright, a couple announcements. If you've been here at the start of every live stream or you're just watching the VODs, you're going to be like, oh my fucking god, this again. But yes, this again, because once again we are stalling for people to be able to hop in here live. Slash, it is an important thing to cover. Phil, let's hop on over there and do that. Before we get into today's stream, there is an event running on right now on the channel. For anybody who subscribes during the month of December, subscribe to the channel in any way. At the end, in January 1st, I'll go back and look how many subs I got in December, and I will donate that many dollars to the Morris Animal Foundation, trying to grow the channel and help charity and do a fun little event all at the same time. That video currently has 186 views, which makes me horribly sad, but I hope maybe the live streams get like 1,000 views, so maybe if we just keep covering at the start of every one, people will do the subscriber thing anyway without clicking on that specific video, because it would be sad if we didn't end up donating a lot to charity. Since I published that video, we have gotten 40 subscribers, so in the last 5 days, the thing was 3 days ago, but it's December 5th when I'm talking about this. Last 5 days, we've gotten $40 for charity. Hopefully we can keep that trend going. And then what would that be? 5 times 6 is 30, so roughly that, so 40 times 6, 80, 120, 240. $240 charity wouldn't be bad if we keep on this pace. Maybe we can get more. Maybe. So hopefully you guys, if you're out there, if you're lurking, if you watch the channel from time to time but you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. I hate to ask for it. I hate to push it. I hate to do all that stuff. But it does help the YouTube algorithm push us to more people, give more people a chance to watch. So even if you're only going to watch 1 out of every 10 videos I put out, it'd be nice if you subscribe so that YouTube would be like, wow, this is cool, and put it in front of other people who can also even discover we exist and maybe also watch 1 out of every 10 videos. I'm not like, if you subscribe, you'll watch all my videos. Yes, perfect. But the YouTube algorithm can be a bitch sometimes. So I really got to try and encourage people to go from lurker to subscriber. Moving on, talking about the actual event today. This is our final quarterfinal for the World event. Now, it is appropriately titled World event. It is not World Championship because not every nation was represented. But it is an event. It is a little bit of national pride where 8 regions on the planet get together and work as a team to try and defeat their opponents. They're encouraged to help each other out, help their teammates out, even talk to each other during the game and try and say, hey, look out on your left, or you're forgetting your manticore, things like that. So hopefully the teams are working together and doing well. We have already completed 3 of our quarterfinals. 2 very, very close matches between Italy and the EU Mercenaries, and then West NA and South America was cast last night. Spain versus France was 4-1 in Spain's favor. A surprising upset in the tournament overall, but Spain did play their ass off. They played really, really good games, which was spooky to see, because some of those people on the Spanish team I generally consider myself to be about as good as, if a little worse, and the way they were playing versus France, I was like, all right, if I played these players 100 times, I'd win maybe 2. So that's fucked up. That makes me sad that I'm falling behind. That's okay. That's okay. I don't want to be good at anything anyway. We have our final quarterfinal. East NA versus the UK. I'll do the same disclaimer I do every single time. I do know who wins, what team wins today. I have not seen any of the games. I do not remember who wins each of the games. The only reason I know who wins at all is South America is currently facing that opponent, and I did have to tell them who they were facing to get that set up. So the semifinals are already well underway, and they will be done by Sunday of this week, and then we'll get replays and we'll cast the semifinals next week. And then we'll get the finals cast before Christmas. So this will hopefully get concluded in 2023. We are now 5 minutes after the start time. That is plenty of time for people to show up if they are going to show up. Let's just get right into it. As with previous competitions, it is worthwhile to say that there was a hotfix in the middle of our first round of replays. So I believe my first two replays I'm casting today are in patch 4.1.1. And then the hotfix will make me have to quick swap over to live. So there will be a 3-minute delay after game 2, but it is very, very quick. I clicked on the wrong thing. Also in 2023, we are hoping to have our Olympics event cast that ends on the 14th, where various people are put through challenges, but we'll get to that later. Oh, I didn't show you the actual thing for today. Here is the matchups for today. Blood Penguin for East NA versus Stead of the UK. Golden Floof versus Lenorm. Rocket Row versus Longshanks. Rainy Frog versus Sir Groot. And AC Maiden versus Koala Duck. So we have to start with Blood Penguin and Stead. Looks good. And Golden Floof and Superb Fairy Run, that's Lenorm. Alright. So our first two games are also the first two that are put on patch 4.1.1, which is good. It'd be awkward if I had to cast the games out of order. Which I accidentally double-clicked on the wrong one, so I guess we're casting game 2 first. That's fine. You know what? That's fine. It's not worth going through a second loading screen for it. Setcher the Imperishable, Blessed of Trod, Great Prince of the Desert, Master of Chariots, Mighty Vanquisher, thanks you for your wise decision, oh boy, upon this, yeah. Hope it works, man. Hope what works. Oh, the sub thing, yeah, sorry. I'm getting caught up on chat, so I was like, what? Alright. I refuse to cast these games out of order after literally just saying I can cast them in order, so we're going down to this one. Stead versus Blood Penguin. Skaven versus Bretonnia. I know Blood Penguin fucking hates Skaven. I have played with him for long enough that whenever I ask him to help me work on a Skaven matchup, he's like, bro, do I have to? I hate your faction so much. Alright. I don't think we helped each other once live. Well, aren't you special? Aren't you special? Alright, for the builds. The Skaven of Stead. We have 2 Wolf Rats. They are the magic damage and armor piercing type, which lowers their weapon strength significantly. We have 3 Rat Ogres, 2 Eshin Triads, triple Poisonman Globe. The Eshin Triads ROR is a 3rd Triad, and then a front line of Skaven Slaves and Clan Rats. The Ixchis Triad Decoy already out. We have the Avalanche Mortars and a Gracier of Ruin with Howling Warp Gale, Warp Lightning, and Warpstone Scroll. On the side of Bretonnia, a very, very meager front line of Peasant Mobs and Spearmen at Arms. Some Peasant Archers, looks like 4 of them total. And then we do have the Defenders of Fleur-de-Lis, Knights Errant Regiment of Renown, Knights of the Realm all over the dang place. And then a Royal Hippogriff Knight and a Lifecaster with Regrowth and Earthblood. Lewin has already terror-outed a Clan Rat with Spears, and then Eshin Triads run up to him, but they get charged by Knights of the Realm, and their charge defense was not active because they were busy fighting Lewin. Now, thankfully for them, it was an uphill charge, and it looks like the Knights of the Realm didn't get that much impact damage, but really, Bretonnia didn't take that much damage from this. Ooh, there we go. Counter Globe Volley does a ton of damage to those Knights of the Realm, really making it worth it for the Skaven. Defenders of Fleur-de-Lis take a massive amount of shock damage and also retreat in front of the decoy of that Clan Eshin unit. And Skaven games, looking like Skaven games usually do, the start is going quite well for them, but we'll see if it can continue. Dogs, Rat Ogres, and Eshin Triads countercharging the Royal Hippogriff Knights. I'm hoping they get Howling Warp Guild in place right here, because they are taking so much damage Blood Penguin has to get them out. The Royal Hippogriff Knights can charge and all around do whatever they want, but if they're left in melee combat, they will get massacred, as we're seeing here. The Howling Warp Gale is actually used on Lewin to keep him above the Skaven formation. I would have preferred it on the Hippogriff Knights, who are now escaping with an overcasted Earthblood on them. Sorry, Regrowth. I wish it was an Earthblood. That'd be a little less impactful. But so many of the Bretonnian Knights are messed up. Other Knights moving in, Knights of the Realm trying to get rid of the Skaven. They've taken way, way, way too much damage. Those Eshin Triads paired up on the Hippogriff Knights doing excellent work. There go the Globes, massacring the Knights of the Realm. While I have been downplaying Globes for the last month or so, because I think people wildly overrate them, Globes are still absolutely insane versus Cavalry, Light Cavalry, Heavy Cavalry, doesn't matter. They do so much damage to Cavalry. It is beyond bullshit. It is stupid. I don't think Globes do a lot of damage to Infantry. I think people overstate that. But I'll never deny that they one-shot Cavalry like nobody's business. Bretonnia usually wins this matchup through Hippogriff Knights, Lewin, and then Grail Knights just cycle charging around stuff. But yeah, if they sit and fight, they get massacred by the Eshin Triads, as you saw. And I actually don't see a lot of basic Knights anymore. Not too much, just because of how much damage Globes do to them. It's usually just Hippogriffs and Lewin dealing with the Globes, and the Grail Knights will sweep up stuff after. For now, Lewin is doing his best to carry this game on his back. Him and his Knights of the Realm getting good damage down onto the Rat Ogres, and even the Grey Seer a little bit. Hippogriff Knights did get some serious healing. They have 8 out of 12 models still left for themselves. There's not a lot of archers left. Archers would do pretty well against the Rat Ogres. Stead seems to have some dogs out and about looking for those peasants, but maybe Knights of the Realm will just sweep over and take care of them. No big deal. Globes hitting the Hippogriff Knights, doing significantly less damage to those lesser models, and Knights of the Realm found their way into the Avalanche borders. The Skaven are very, very ahead, and I'm not pretending that they're in a bad situation, but this could get a little spooky. That nasty Globe Volley onto the Knights of the Realm, though, with the Rat Ogres charging in and all these spears, should finish those guys off. Lewin might break, and if he does, he loses his natural regen, which could be a problem, because then you have to dedicate healing resources to him and the Hippogriff Knights, which is not what the Skaven want at all. Army losses is coming a little bit closer for the Skaven. They still have one active Globe. Another Globe is currently running away. If Bretonnia can run down both of these Globes, they still have a shot in this game. Because late game cycle charging with Lewin and the Hippogriff Knights can kill literally everything left on the board. Though I suppose with all of the triads about the Grey Sea of Ruin could use that Howling Warp Gale and just lock the Hippogriffs down whenever they charge somewhere and then have the triads get a ton of damage. But usually you're going to see what happens over here. Eshin Triads take a lot of damage on the charge due to their low armor and low mass. They just are... they get annihilated by the impact damage alone, but if they get to counter-charge against you, then they'll do fine, because their stats are really good. It's just the charge damage kind of fucks them up. But Stead has rallied his Globes outside of all the craziness. They're throwing in for free, which is great for the Skaven. Some very, very wounded peasant archers are trying to fire in the Rat Ogres. It's just not getting a lot done. Lewin and his Hippogriffs are smoking these Rat Ogres, but it doesn't really matter as the Globes are doing whatever they want. We still have 2 healthy Triads over here. Things are looking excellent for El Scavinos, and it does warm my little rat heart to see them beating up on Bretonnia. BP. I hate Skaven. I hate that by 30 turn. It has 40 units, which says. Oh, Blood Penguin? Yeah. Things are looking a bit doomed, though Bretonnia is maintaining their status on the balance of power. It hasn't gotten any worse for them in a while, and the Globes are doing 0 damage to the Hippogriff Knights, which is why I keep mentioning them. They're more dangerous than the Grail Knights in this matchup, just because Globes are less effective versus them. One Globe is gone, the other Globe is also going, but can these Knights of the Realm save the Damsel of Life? They actually definitely can. They can immediately rout the dogs, and then surround the Grey Seer. The Grey Seer is in a bad spot. Stead sees this and is already trying to come back to his forces and get away from the Knights of the Realm, but it looks like the Knights of the Realm are a little distracted. They aren't running to save the Damsel just yet. They aren't dealing with the Grey Seer. There's a Howling Warp Gale, keeping the Royal Hippogriff Knights from diving down to help out, and a rear charge from the Knights of the Realm was trying to shock damage the Skaven into all fleeing, but without the Royal Hippogriffs on the front side, it's not much of a hammer and anvil as a anvil and anvil. And I have to feel like that was a missed opportunity for the Knights of the Realm to get free damage on the Skaven Lord and save their own healer, because now these dogs are eating her alive. Now the Knights of the Realm are coming, but if she routs, it's going to take her quite a while to come back. They will show up in time to save the lady. And now Lewin and the Hippogriff Knights could put the Gracier in a really bad spot. Sword of Corona's down. He has 10 melee defense, and he's going to take a ton of damage. Globes are not quite in range to punish this Bretonnian blob just yet. Gracier's down to half health. Is this a throw from the Skaven? Rat Ogres and Spears and everything is desperately coming over to try and save the Gracier. Howling Morpgale locks all the Flyers in place. The Flyers are exactly where they want to be. The Gracier's down to 1/3 health and falling still. Knights of the Realm are about to piece out of here, but the Hippogriff Knights and Lewin, can they kill the Gracier? The bounce power is getting a little bit better and better and better for Bretonnia. I mean, again, from the depths of absolute ruin to getting a little closer. There's an Earthblood. The Globes are unfortunately useless at this point, because if they throw in, they will do way more damage to their own forces than the enemy. And Lewin, plus the Hippogriff Knights, are still after that Gracier. But now the Ashen Triads are here, and like I said, if you aren't countercharging them or doing anything like that, if the Triads just get to sit and fight, they will do amazing damage to the Royal Hippogriff Knights and to Lewin. Hippogriff Knights pull their way out of here. Lewin's still fighting, almost heal capped. Hippogriff Knights are also almost heal capped, and they're trying to path their way through. They're trying to get to that Gracier, but another Howling Morpgale locks them in place. Really liking the spamming of that spell. Lewin's taking decent damage, but his Damsel is also about to rout, which means no more healing. Not that there really was that much left to heal on the Bretonnian roster at this point. She does chuck out one last Earthblood for good measure. And the Hippogriff Knights pile back into the Gracier. Can they kill him? There goes 100 HP in the blink of an eye. Each time these Hippogriffs hit, it is a monstrosity. 1,300 HP. Lewin is still very much stuck. Hippogriff Knights are starting to rout. Triads still after them. There goes their leadership. They rout, and without them, Lewin will fail too. And the Skaven will prevail in game one. But it got a little spooky. Avalanche Mortars almost paid for themselves, killing off those archers. Rat Ogres did pretty darn good. Eshin Triads did fine. Globes did very well. Dogs did very well. And then Clan Rat Spears did just fine. For Blood Penguin, Lewin and the Hippogriff Knights tried to carry, couldn't quite do it. Knights of the Realm, one of them got good value, two of them did okay. And then Archers and Spearmen at Arms did alright. But you can see my problem there. That balance of power aside, that game was close at the very end. If Lewin and the Hippogriff Knights had been able to kill the Gracier, they could have terror-outed everything. Mark my words. And that is the problem with fighting Bretonnia's rats right now, is the Hippogriff Knights and Lewin. The ground-based Knights, you don't really care that much. Like, they're annoying, but they're not what's going to carry the game. The whole game is about killing Lewin and the Hippogriffs. Skaven C tier, hummus wrong again. They're pretty bad. The green one. I know you're baiting me, but I remember a game between you and Razel where the Skaven looked real good. The Skaven looked real good as you completely demolished them in a one-sided victory. Also, a lot of my mods are giving me shit where they're like, Skaven are C tier, I'm going to go play Skaven and up their win rate. And then they don't. Then they play Skaven and lose. Alright, I have messages. Are they about this? It is not about this. Alright. Let's pop you over to the Photoshop. That's where we'll be keeping this score. Go all the way to the top. All the way to the top. Blood Penguin is down. Instead, making it 1-0 to the UK to start us off. We'll go for game 2. Golden Floof versus Lenorn. Grand Cathay and High Elves. But Razel played without a monitor? Oh, okay. Well, then that makes sense. High Elf, Kite, and Eagles. Versus Grand Cathay. It's pretty standard build. I wonder if he's going to box or not. Maybe. It is what Grand Cathay and Dwarves be do. That's a box. For Cathay, we have a Grand Cannon, 2 Crane Gunners, 3 Iron Hail Gunners, a Peasant Long Spear, more Peasant Long Spears on the back line, and 5 Jade Warriors in the front. We have an Onyx Crowman, 2 Jade Lancers, and a Dragon-Blooded Shugi Lord of Yin with Talons of Night and Storm of Shadows. I'll go and up Skaven Rune Raid for the second time. They feel pretty bad. And what are Phoenixes but fancy eagles? For the High Elves, we have Illyrian Reavers, the Heralds of the Wind, Illyrian Reavers with bows. We have 5 Shadow Warriors, more Illyrian Reavers, double Arcane Phoenix, Alariel the Radiant with Tempest, Earthblood, and Banishment. That is not a bound banishment. That is a natural banishment. And then more Illyrian Reavers who are currently getting shot by a cannon. Sneaks into Shotgun Shell for a trap. Grand Cathay Cannon is currently punishing those Illyrian Reavers pretty nicely. Shadow Warriors hitting the Onyx Crowman. The Onyx Crowmen are sighting up those Shadow Warriors, making them visible for the Jezzails. And Onyx Crowmen have that special little thing where they can see better than usual units can, making the Shadow Warriors more revealed than usual. They could try and sneak closer and try and hit those Crane Gunners under normal circumstances, but the Onyx Crowmen just spot them so early on. They're taking a ton of damage from the Crane Gunners. What's the gimmick for the Heralds of the Wind? I think just, like, better stats. Yeah, just better melee stats. Otherwise, they're the same. Jade Lancers and Onyx Crowmen trying to keep the High Elves at bay for now. Crane Gunners are in range of the Shadow Warriors, but it looks like they've lost a lot of models. Their DPS isn't really there, and the Jade Lancers are also just disrupting them. Onyx Crowmen also dive in, and already 2 Shadow Warriors are going to get knocked off the map. With a third under duress, I think we might see a Talons of Night here. Sacrifice the Jade Lancers? No, those are Jade Lancers. You don't want to kill them for nothing. Yeah, it looks like the Shugi Lord will just dive in to help out a little bit, then fuck off. 3 Shadow Warriors gone as another Jade Lancer suicides out there to take out another one. And the Kite is having a very tough time. Now, the Heralds of the Wind did sneak all the way back. They're hitting that Grand Cannon. 2 or 3 more volleys, and they will shut that unit down. But it looks like Crane Gunners have spotted them and are pushing them off. Jade Lancers running around. They are better than Illyrian Reavers. They are heavy cavalry versus the light cavalry components, so it is really these double Arcane Phoenixes that are going to have to do something about them. But I think that there's 1 healthy Shadow Warrior left. Everyone else has been dealt with. And the Heralds of the Wind are still firing at this cannon. It's at half HP, though. Cannons are really weird to know what HP they're currently at. Because if you hit enough volleys, all of a sudden they'll just spike down as the crew falls apart or something, or they'll lose models, so I don't know. The Jade Lancer soiree has been great, though. These guys are just living their best life while the cannon covers them. The Crowmen, too, but the Crowmen are less fun to talk about because they're OP. These Jade Lancers are doing good. I'm always happy to see Cathay do something with their cavalry. The Cathay builds I usually have 4 Jade Lancers in them that do a lot of work. Grand Cannon down a model as the Heralds of the Wind continue to try and punish them. The Shadow Warriors still trying to get in range of these Crane Gunners, but Silver Shields and 30 armor is helping them out quite a bit against these Shadow Warriors. They're taking a bit of damage, but not a ton. Tempest from Alariel finishes off those Onyx Crowmen. Jade Lancers are getting routed by the Illyrian Reavers eventually, but they did their job. They got rid of so many Shadow Warriors. And the Crane Gunners are finishing off yet another one. That Shadow Warrior was healthy a moment ago, and it's losing the duel versus the Crane Gunners. Oof, a sad day for the Shadow Warriors, that even when they get in range, they lose horribly to the Crane Gunners. Heralds of the Wind have faster speed. Alright. That's a giant. Who cares? Arcane Phoenixes plus a Banishment diving down, taking out Iron Hail Gunners. There are still 2 more to try and punish them, and they are firing in for now. That is a lot of damage going through, though. Also, a Crane Gunner is shut down. It's maybe too little, too late for the High Elves. But it looks like their single entities jumping into the box do some work. Yeah, I think in hindsight, wow. But, like, I think in hindsight, when the Jade Lancers left this area, clearly the birds couldn't stop them, so I think the birds should have just dove this inner area like they're doing now, and then there would be no Jade Lancers to block them. While as for now, the Jade Lancers had already returned to the box, and now there are some Jade Lancers trying to stop them, but look how quickly they're dispatching the Crane Gunners. and shutting down the Iron Hails, and you have plenty of healing from Alarielle, so the damage you're taking on the Phoenixes really isn't a big deal. The problem is that the Shadow Walkers or Shadow Warriors are all already dead. So, yeah, I think in hindsight that would have been a better play. Cannon's down to 0 models? Yeah, I think all 4 of its models are broken. Last Crane Gunner's running away from the Phoenix. Iron Hails are still up and alive. This Phoenix will have to dive those, which it is immediately. So good stuff there. Who was the one guy who said Cranes and Giselles were OP in missile versus missile fight? I've always said that Crane Gunners and Giselles are really good in missile versus missile fights. I've said Deck Gunners are trash for some reason, even though they're similar to Giselles and Crane Gunners. But no, Giselles and Crane Gunners are real good. Real good. Arcane Phoenix is getting slowed down. This Shugi Lord's trying to get rear charges for free while the Peasant Long Spearmen attempt to catch up. This last bird is just swamped in long spears and Jade Warriors, and as it takes off, it might take a nasty volley in the back from these Iron Hail Gunners. Lariel ain't feeling so good. In the distance, Onyx Crowmen have shattered off some other units. We do have 3 Illyrian Reavers left? Looks like just 2. 2 Illyrian Reavers left that can help chase off some things. But the halves are just too far behind at this point, I have to think. Who's that guy who said Cranes and Giselles are OP in missile versus missile fights? Yeah. Deck Gunners don't have shield and loose formations. Yeah, they also just don't deal any damage, though. Deck Gunners do, like, 0 damage. It's insane. I've been playing a lot of Vampire Coast recently, and every time I take Deck Gunners, I'm like, oh, these guys suck. Here's a Tempest. It looks like the birds are going to try and snipe out the Shugi Lord as Alarielle attempts to heal up a little bit. Crane Gunners still poking in, doing what they can. The Arcane Phoenixes get big shots onto the Shugi Lord, who might rout, and the edge of the map is right there. If she gets away from them, she still might rout herself right off the map, which would spike down the Cathay leadership. I still don't know if it's going to be enough. Illyrian Reavers on the far side trying to sneak up through the Jade Warriors, but the Jade Warriors are closing the gates on them, and Iron Hail Gunners are firing directly into the Maw of Death. And the Yin Lord does hold on. Another Phoenix is back in on it, though. Misses the charge attack. Now it waddles after her. She is getting away. She's probably going to path straight through Iron Hail Gunners and get to safety. So unfortunately, the High Elf snipe did not work on the enemy Lord. Alarielle's just staying safe so that she can heal up in the future. The Arcane Phoenix is still trying to route that Shugame Lord of Yin, but she can't fucking get there. Illyrian Reavers are pushed off for the final time. It is down to just the High Elf triple single entity. And the Crowmen are back, because nothing on Cathay ever breaks. Giselles get a good shot onto Lariel the Radiant, lowering your HP enough. These Iron Hail Gunners might be able to finish her off. Big damage. And that'll trigger army losses and a GG. Cathay's brutal, man. Cathay is real brutal. Crane Gunners did awesome. Grand Cannon did awesome. Jade Lancers did pretty well. Onyx Crowmen did pretty well. Iron Hail Gunners did well. And then the front line stood around and were not needed. On the other side, the triple single entities did all right, but it was really the Shadow Warriors that let them down. They just couldn't do any damage even when they got in range. Illyrian Reavers did okay. Heralds of the Wind did fine, but the Shadow Warriors shit the bed. And I have seen them doing okay in some areas these days, but it tends to be versus like big monsters or things they can hit. I don't think they're that accurate against weapons teams. I gotta get the update going to get back onto live, so I'll start that. Should go nice and fast, but just gotta get it going. Oh goody, another 9.2 gigabyte download for Warhammer 40k Darktide. Don't even know what it's about. Okay, I brought you guys the Photoshop. So it is now 1-1 as Golden Floof took down the Norm. Next up, when we get back into it, will be Rocket Row versus Longshanks on Pillar of Bone. This is the best part of your day. Show appreciation. I doubt it. Why are Cathay strong? I don't really follow multiplayer balance. They have one of the best front lines in the game for its price. Now you might be like, I mean, Chosen can beat Jade Warriors. Cool, but Jade Warriors only 500 gold. So Jade Warriors are pretty strong. Their artillery is the most accurate and the most damaging in the entire game. And before anybody hops in the chat, like, actually on their stat card, yeah, I don't give a fuck about their stat card. I've watched hundreds of replays, and I've played hundreds of games. Cathay cannons slap. Vampire Coast and Empire cannons do not slap. I have tried all three. One of them always impresses me, and two of them always make me want to die. So I don't care what the stat card says. The feel and the performance and the results are wildly different. So Cathay's cannons and Fire Rain rockets are insane. Their crane gunners are pretty strong, very much like Scave and Gisele's. Iron Hail Gunners are very strong. And then Onyx Crowmen from the DLC are the best flying unit in the entire game, and they're also very cheap. So Cathay is just better than you at almost every metric. Cathay's only weaknesses is their SEMs aren't very good. They're giant monsters. They're just not very good. The Dragon Lords aren't very good. Their Terracotta Sentinels aren't very good. Not that you need them, but it's whatever. Zhao Ming is serviceable, but he's not... I don't think I'd go out and call him good. Like, if I was playing... Here's my point. If I was playing a roster that had literally every unit in the entire game on it, I would pick 10 other lords before I would even consider Zhao Ming. Right. Zhao Ming's fine. He's serviceable, but he's not strong, I wouldn't even say. Especially after that bug got fixed with him. Now he's just fine. He's serviceable. So your lords are serviceable. Your magic is serviceable. Everything else on your roster is really, really good and really cost efficient. Alright, download is complete. I am relaunching the game on the current patch, and we'll get back into it. But actually on their stat card, because they can not beat the others, yeah. It is definitely a feel kind of thing, where, I mean, you can talk about it as much as you want, but I'm like, when I see a Grand Cathay cannon, it pays for itself. When I see an Empire or a Coast cannon, they do not. And that's just how it goes. Alright. Gotta find GB3. There we go. We have AC Maiden versus Koala. That's the last game. Okay, Rocket and Longshanks. There we are. Isn't Miao Ying still amazing? I haven't seen Miao Ying in like 60 years. Alright, we have our first sighting of lizards. And we have dwarves. But lizards, though. It's actually funny that I'm still excited about lizards, but not excited about dwarves, when lizards are far more common. They're more meta and more popular, yet I'm still excited to see them. Small map, so I'm going to hit slow-mo while we cover the armies quickly here. 4 Ripperdactyl Riders, a Life Slan with Earthblood and Flesh to Stone. You have a Bestowed with Rev Crystal also. Red Crested Skinks and Skink Horse with Javelins along the front line, and then 4 Skink Skirmishers in the vanguard. Did she get a nerf? I think she got a cost increase a couple patches ago, but I haven't seen her in a long time. On the Dwarfen side, we have a very mixed box here. Dwarf Warriors and Miners around the outer shell, and an inner shell of Quarrelers facing in every direction. Ulthar's Raiders, the Regiment of Renown Rangers with Great Weapons in the middle, with the Dragonback Slayers. We have the Ethereal Hans Valhirsen, Unbreakable, and then a Rune of Dismay, Slow Aura. He also causes terror. We have a basic Rune Lord, not Thoric, with some Missile Resist, ITP, and then a bunch of runes. And we have a regular-ass Thane. Cool. Grand Cathay probably C tier. I hate all of you so much. Alright, let's go. Lizardmen going to approach nice and slowly. I'm worried the Slan is a little too far back. He'll probably want to move up. Because as soon as these Quarrelers get in range, they're just going to get free damage out, so then you're on the clock. Dwarves are just going to move up slightly to get their Quarrelers in range of the Red-Crested Skinks, and actually the Red-Crested Skinks just back off. They are waiting for these Jab Skinks and Riperdactyls to get into position. The Lizardmen aren't scared of a cannon or anything, because Dwarves don't have one. Skaven Kite faction prove me wrong? Their Night Runners and Gutter Runners are too slow to get away from any heavy cav, or light cav, or dogs, or monstrous infantry, or flyers. So, no. So, no. No. Alright. Ski Cover's Javelins firing in onto the Quarrelers at last. The Red-Crested Skinks are here, and the Riperdactyls are diving straight in. Now, there's only one Dragonback Slayer, so if the Riperdactyls all go for a different weapons team, the Slayers will have a hard time picking a target. But unfortunately, both of them land on the Althar's Raiders. That just allows the Dragonback Slayers to run in and hit both of them at the same time, though those Riperdactyls are doing insane damage. One of them gets a Flesh to Stone, 66% physical resistance, and now they are disrupting a second Quarreler. A third Quarreler is under attack, though I would like to see these Riperdactyls dispersed a bit and really stopping a bunch of different things, because right now they're blobbing up pretty hard, and that does allow the Dragonback Slayers to have a grand old time. Rev Crystal healing up the Riperdactyls that have taken some serious damage. And the Riperdactyls just massacred these Dwarven Quarrelers, and they're now walking out of here like it's nobody's business. Skinks are chucking in for free, getting a ton of damage. Now, I'm sure they'd probably want to find the Dragonback Slayers if they could with those Javelins. That would do a lot of damage, but we'll see. Red-Crested Skinks doing their best on the front line. They won't beat Dwarf Warriors, I don't think, without some buffs. But with the Riperdactyls nearby also getting a little bit of rear charge damage and all these poison darts coming in, the Dwarven stats are getting lowered by the poison. They're just having a bad time. The Riperdactyls in the back are coming in for their second charge. The ones in the front are getting some Earthblood support to heal up before they have to go back in. Althar's Raiders are terror routed, but I don't think that's a natural route. I think they will be back in just a second. And I'm really confused why these Rippers keep going together to do everything rather than splitting up and really taking out these Quarrelers. Rev Crystal rolling through the Dwarven lines. Not a care in the world as it does whatever it wants. And these Riperdactyls are coming back to the fight after their healing, but again, I don't think they're splitting up. They both have attack orders onto the Althar's Raiders. Skink Skirmishers still firing in, just being a nuisance, doing what they do. And Dwarves are routing, but again, the Skinks need to be on these guys. If the Riperdactyls are going to be busy here, the Skinks need to take up the task of chasing off these Quarrelers, because once you rout them, you got to make sure they stay routed, or Dwarves will rally at even very low HP thresholds, because they just have insane leadership, which is kind of their whole faction's deal. Not complaining, just saying. There are things to complain about the Dwarves, but I don't mind their leadership. It's their whole shtick. Anyway, Riperdactyls, largely free and clear to do whatever they want at this moment. Not a lot of things that can really pin them in place. One of the Riperdactyls has taken insane damage, but the other two are very healthy, and there's a third that's like half HP, so he's doing fine. And they do actually just take an opportunistic charge onto some Dwarf Warriors who are already almost routing. It's going to get a free little route there. Some Quarrelers have rallied up in the trees. Things are looking bad for the Dwarves on the battlefield, but on the balance of power, it's dead even, which I could not disagree further. This looks like it is a massacre on the side of the Dwarves. Skaven are a heal kite faction? No, that's actually insane. Heal kite? What do they have that even heals? They have brood horrors. Okay? Brood horrors aren't great. They're not bad, but they aren't great. Green one, you're silly. You're full of silliness. Alright. Alright. Okay, what are we doing? What's happening? Miners still getting shot by these Skink Skirmishers. Riperdactyls are running other people off. These wounded Riperdactyls are going to finish off Quarrelers. And I am done getting distracted by Green One in the chat being silly. Packmaster? Yeah, he's on a Brood Horror. That's how he gets his regen. And the Packmaster has to be in melee to get regen for the Molder Monsters. The Molder Monsters can't just sit around him while you're kiting. So your kite would have to be in melee constantly, which is not kite. Does it? Swear to God. Running with the pack, the heal only works if you're in melee with the Packmaster next to Molder monsters. So if you're gonna kite with Molder monsters, you need to be in melee constantly to be healing, which at that point, you're not kiting anymore. Can't they just catch up to you? What are you people talking about? Also, how are you gonna kite with Skaven? Who the fuck? I know I'm just getting trolled, but I'm getting upset. Who the fuck walks up to Skaven with heavy infantry or boxes against them? Because that's what kite is used for. Everybody rushes Skaven. Everybody and their grandmother rushes Skaven. How are you gonna kite that? Your Night Runners are slower than everything that's coming after you. How are you gonna kite that? They're gonna catch you. They're gonna kill you. They're better at mobility than you are. Melee heal kite. It's not gonna happen. They have 54 speed and 17 fucking missile strength. I hate you so much. Alright, back to this. Rocket's mad. Rocket's mad. And hey, don't blame me for ruining the game. Control Green One. He's in your clan. He's your problem. All my family gathered for it? That's fair. Rocket is killing it. Rocket, the Lizardman player, is killing it. Rocket's doing great. Let's all worship Rocket, because he's actually playing really well in this Lizardman game. Actual analysis, I haven't been talking about it throughout the game, but I have really liked the Ripperdactyl play from the Lizardman. The only criticism I have is I don't think that 2 Ripperdactyls should be diving into each Correler. I think they should be spreading out. But other than that, he hasn't committed to any fight. He is keeping them moving. He is keeping them away from the Dragonback Slayers for the most part. Whenever the Dragonback Slayers show up, he starts to path his way out of there. He's using their superior mass. He's playing it patiently with the healing. The Bastildon's taken some damage, but he has it at a good HP point where it's not going to rout anytime soon. And the Salon can slowly heal it up over time, but the Bastildon is mostly spending his time healing up the Rippers. I like the Skink Skirmisher tech. That was pretty neat, that they've just sat outside the build and been used as, like, archers. They aren't really getting used as skirmish units. They're just shooting in and doing decent damage to these Quarrelers over time, poisoning them down. And largely, Rocket is not falling for the bait a lot of people do against dwarves, but also just foot characters in general. Foot characters, you just leave until the hyper late game and otherwise walk away from them, because that is their weakness. Their strength is how fucking tanky they are from being on foot, but their weakness is their speed is usually going to be dog shits. They can't pick their own fights. Like, this Ethereal guy is just chasing this Lawn Mage Priest, and Rocket's walking away. So that's pretty good. Ripperdactyl's going wherever the Dragonback Slayers aren't, trying to rout off these Quarrelers yet again. The Rude Lord is getting some good hits on them for now, and aren't there 2 more Ripperdactyls behind me? Yeah, there's a half-health one, and there's an almost dead one. The almost dead one is finishing off some Quarrelers who are getting their last shots in. Bounce of Power is still favoring the Dwarves, though I just hard disagree. I think the Lizardmen are in a great spot in this game. I know the Bounce of Power is really overvaluing the 3 single entities being full HP, but I just do not think that that matters. If it's more than 28 speed, it's kite. I'm just saying light cavalry can run you down. I'm not saying Night Runners can't kite, but like, Night Runners could kite light infantry, but then who the fuck is rushing Skaven with just light infantry and no cavalry, dogs, or flyer component? Oy. Fight Salon, you have magic damage. Salon has 24-32 for melee stats. This guy has 65-50. I don't think that's a winning fight for the Salon. He just wants to back off. Ripperdactyls are in. Hans does have 75% physical resistance, but he only has an HP bar of 2,700, which is very, very low. So despite that physical resistance, he is still squishy-ish. Lizardman's still kiting it out. Ripperdactyl Rider's doing darned great. I'm curious to see their value after this. I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of those boring values where for some reason they carried the whole game on their back, but they get like 600 value because reasons, but they have been doing everything. Red-Crested Skinks also did better than I would have suspected. I know they're armor-piercing and whatever, but usually when I use them, they let me down, so... yeah, they did alright. They hung on. They didn't win, but they hung on. Skink Skirmishers are the winners of the day. I forget who originally showed them to me, but someone took Skink Skirmishers, I think in a new player tournament, and I watched them play, and I was like, huh, those look really, really strong. And I tried them, and I really liked them, and now, like, everybody's playing Skink Skirmishers. They're amazing. 400 gold for pretty much you just treat them like an archer unit. They have decent missile strength. Not amazing, but does poison damage. They're fast. They do alright. Thane is trying to kill the Bastillodon. That does have to be bailed out to safety. These miners might tear her out soon due to the Bastillodon charging straight through them. And Hans Valharson is still chasing around the Slann Mage Priest of Life, who at this point the Slann has obeyed Green One's advice and is taking the melee fight to Hans, gets a good shot in right there. And now the balance of power is finally starting to come around to the human boy side of things and think, maybe Lizardmen are slightly advantaged here, which I would say slightly, you dumb green and red piece of shit, slightly this shit is over. But it's okay. It's okay. Balance of power has been wrong before. Rune of Slowness hurts the Bastillodon. It doesn't hurt the Bastillodon. Slows him down a bit. He healed something. I don't know what. Probably one of the Ripperdactyls? Yeah, that one. Ripperdactyl's healing up. Dragonback Slayer's down to 22 models and 700 total HP. Thane is half health. Runelord is healthy, but aside from that, the dwarves are out of gas. Hans is down to sub 300 HP. Rippers could finish him off soon, though it looks like the dwarves are going after that Rev Crystal. He still has one use. Oh, only one use. Alright, Rocket's been on top of cycling through him, so... Yeah, the Rev Crystal doesn't really matter that much anymore. His one charge would be cool, but you don't need it. He's not important at this point. Hans will get finished off by the Ripperdactyl Riders. All of the dwarves are routing besides the Dragonback Slayers and the Hero Corps. And Hans is dead. Ripperdactyls and Skinks will chase off these Dwarf Warriors and Miners, make sure they never come back. Meanwhile, the Dwarven Hero Hammer and Slayers will kill the Bastillodon. The Dragonfire, the weird flammable thing that Dragonback Slayers give off, slows the Bastillodon down to 24 speed, which actually makes dwarves faster than it, so they'll keep up. I don't think the Bastillodon's getting away anytime soon. Ripperdactyls rallying. Wonder if they're going to go for the Dragonback Slayers. And as I say, it's probably not getting away. It gets away. The Skinks get in the way, blocking down all these dwarves, stopping them from going anywhere. Dragonback Slayer's down to 5 models and less than 100 HP between all of them. Skink Skirmishers are about out of ammunition, so they are now just extremely poor melee infantry that can be used to chase down dwarves. And Ripperdactyls charging in to get some last attacks. Dragonback Slayers taking damage, losing models. 4 models left for them, 32 HP. 3 models left. 2 models left. And 1. Say goodbye to the Dragonback Slayers. Runelord is a bit surrounded. But they did take out 1 Ripperdactyl Rider. It only has 1 model left. I very highly doubt it comes back in any effective form. There's another Ripperdactyl that's very, very low, and it is actually going to rout. There's 2 healthy Rippers left. There's still a decent amount of support, and there is a Life Slan. I don't know how much Winds of Magic he has left. Runelord does not do magic damage, neither does the Thane, so if the Slann has any physical resist spells left in him, the Flesh to Stone one, that could be pretty effective, but we will see. Now, this is the part I always struggle with dwarves, is killing the last heroes. Ripperdactyls are not very good at killing heroes. They're just not. Do we have to wait for every single model to die? Pretty much, dwarves. This is why everyone hates Dowie. I'm going to play it at ×2 speed. If you had Tic Tac and Campaign Pterodons, no. No! Ripperdactyls slowly whittling down the Runelord and Thane, refreshing some charge bonuses, getting in there, just harassing them. But neither of these guys are unbreakable, so the balance of power could turn against them enough to army loss them. And there it goes. So Rocket doing a good job taking apart the box. And yeah, like I said, I predicted it in game. Ripperdactyl Riders carried the whole game, and yet 3 of them just about paid for themselves, and 1 got really good value, but I don't know why. They just don't get as much value as I would think in matchups like this, even though they do amazing. The Skink Cohorts of Javelins played pretty darn good. Skink Skirmishers just about all paid for themselves, right around there. So the Skinks did fine. Red Crest Skinks also did all right. How much does Skitter League cost? I think 4. For the Longshanks. Hans did well. His Runelord did all right for not being Thoric. His Thane paid for himself with gusto. The Dragonback Slayers had a great old time. Quarrelers, I was going to say struggled in game, but out of game their values actually did pretty good. Most of them paid for themselves. Dwarf Warriors did just fine. Miners did just fine. So overall, very close game. Lizardmen had enough healing to get through. Okay, so then that was Rocket. There you are. Let's go to the little scoreboard thing. Boop. East NA is up 2-1. Will Sir Groot bring it back for the UK, make it 2-2, or will Rainy Frog prevail and seal the fate of the UK? Let's go. So Rainy Frog for East NA. If the Dark Elves win here, it'll be 3-1, and East NA will prevail. If Sir Groot on the Empire wins, it's 2-2, and our last game will decide it all. Sir Groot going with a lot of kite. A lot of kite. 4 Outrider grenade launchers and 2 war wagons. We'll see if there's a box this game, but I very much doubt it. The Dark Elves only have 5 infantry, and the Empire is mostly mobile, so I doubt that they'll have anything to hide in. So if you're sick of boxes, this game's the game for you. Okay. For the Empire, 2 war wagons, 4 Outriders with grenade launchers, 3 Empire Knights, and then a backline of Spearmen and Swordsmen. Karl Franz up on Deathclaw, and a Jade Wizard with Regrowth. On the other side, for the Dark Elves, we have a mix of Cold One Knights and Dark Riders. We have the Crows of Cain, Supreme Sorceress of Dark up on our Dragon, and then we have a front line of Dread Spears backed up by Dark Shards and 2 Reaper Bolt Throwers. But the grenade launchers are here, and they're making mincemeat out of the front line of the Dark Elves. Dark Shards will push back against them, force these guys to run away, but it looks like the Outriders are plenty ready to get out of here. Dark Elves pushing up. And Sir Groot getting his kite elements back a little bit more here. He does have 3 Empire Knights. I forgot if I mentioned that or not. Froggo is French. I believe he is French, but on our side of the Atlantic. I don't think he's a part of Greater France. The Bolt Throwers are currently poking down the war wagons. I know Coops was telling me about a lot of very successful builds he had with Bolt Throwers of different kinds. They're just slow, consistent value on the war wagons, and they can take out models relatively quickly, which means healing them up is a little worthless, because it's not like Invocation of Heck or a Rev Crystal where you can get models back from healing enough. You can only heal them so much, so I'm liking that. Dark Elves plenty happy to let their Bolt Throwers just fire. And the Empire are the ones on the clock a bit, as they don't have the artillery range, so Dark Elves are just chilling like, you come here and figure it out. Dark Shards are going to try and counterfire against these Outriders as a nice breath attack comes down, though actually it does miss the Swordsman on the move quite badly. So nice was a little preemptive there. Dark Riders charge out of the trees, hitting the war wagons, getting good damage out paired with those Bolt Throwers, but the Empire Knights will countercharge. I think the Dark Riders are doomed, but they're just holding those war wagons in place for the Bolt Throwers. The Empire Knights are now starting to sally forth. They need to take out these Dark Shards and the Reaper Bolt Throwers, and then the Outriders can win the entire game from there, but they need to get the ranged advantage, because Foot Archers and those Bolt Throwers are making life hell for them. But the Outriders have significantly weakened the Dark Elf frontline before Murderous Prowess pops, so the Dark Elves don't have that extra leadership or stats. They just crumble immediately, and the Empire frontline walks straight through. Now Coldland Knights are being tasked to fight back, but I think the Empire Knights have the Reikland Runefang. Yes, they have a big stat increase, and already the Dark Shards are offline. It is down to just the Bolt Throwers who are busy shooting at the War Wagons, which is a great target for them. That means the Outriders are free and clear to punish the blobs of the Coldland Knights paired with Karl Franz. Already the Coldland Knights are running, and the Empire grenades are proving to be rather scary. Now, it's not one-sided, not at all. We have a very wounded Outrider up there, a healthy one down here. This one's under attack by the Crows of Cain, and that one's under attack by Dark Riders, so both sides losing a lot of their ranged pressure very, very early on. Empire Knights getting another Reikland Runefanger, now it's just fading out, something like that, as they try and save these Outriders, but it's not going that well. 2 of the Outriders are routing, 1 is running away from Coldland Knights into danger. And that is that. Empire Swordsman plus the War Wagons shutting down the last Bolt Thrower, however. For the Dark Elves, There's not a lot left, actually. A lot of the Dark Elf army disappeared from under our noses. We have the Supreme Sorcerers of Dark, 1 Coldwind Knight, 1 Dread Spear, and the Crows of Cain. Everything else has taken either significant damage or is currently compromised. Both bolt throwers are under attack. There's not a lot left here for the Dark Elves. So while the Empire lost all their Outriders temporarily, I mean, they might come back or something. I mean, they did what they had to, apparently, because I don't see any more Dark Elves left. Supreme Sorceress of Dark pushes back against all his forces fighting her. Franz is doing great. Looks like he's going to hit with the Soul Stealer now to just kind of damage him and these Empire Knights a little bit. War Wagon, singular War Wagon, is trying to fire in and help out Franz. Meanwhile, these War Wagons, there's still 3 out of 4 models on them. They're all shooting as well. Dark Elves are falling further and further behind, so Dark Shards are trying to rally, get shots off onto these Spearmen that are running at them. But they're taking way too long to form ranks. I've noticed that with ranged units too, quite a bit. I have a replay I need to submit to CA with ranged jank in it, but Dark Shards are not able to protect themselves. Dark Elves are falling apart all across the map, and all of their balance of power is in the Supreme Sorceress of Dark, who, if everything was cut from the map, besides her and Karl Franz, Franz could actually just whoop her ass. So I think the Dark Elves are in a very, very tough position. The Empire Kite did very well, firing over those Spearmen, not friendly firing them even one little bit. Losing all respect for Sir Groot. Y'all are silly. Y'all are silly. Lord Monkey with the $2 donation. Thank you for that. Does Texas fall under West NA or East NA? The Central United States was fair game for anyone. Yeah, it was fair game for anyone. I, being an American myself, had plenty of friends in this time zone, so it felt weird for me to just have one United States team. So I hit up a friend I have on the West Coast, and I hit up a friend I have on the East Coast, and I said, hey, form teams from your areas. Because, hey, I was talking to some friends about it last night. Franz is beating the shit out of the Supreme Sorceress of Dark. No news there. I told you he could do it, and you didn't believe me. But I was talking to some friends last night. If Europe gets Spain, France, Italy, the EU mercenaries, and the UK out of the 8 teams I selected for this, the United States gets 2. And you might be like, wow, same country gets 2. It's a huge fucking place. It's a huge place. I grabbed people from the West Coast, I grabbed people from the East Coast. It's gigantic. It's way further away from each other than fucking Spain and France, so I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm a proud American. We can have 2 American teams. It is fine. And also, they're NA. They're not even America. So it's Canada and America combined. Which I think Rainy Frog is north. Is up in the Canadian lands. I'm not sure about that, but I believe he is. So you know what? I don't want to hear it. From you, Mr. or Mrs. Internet. Jokes and memes and bullshittery aside, the Dark Elves, their Cold Knights did not get a lot of value. The Bolt Throwers did very, very well. Dark Shards did fine. Dark Riders did okay. But the Dread Spear frontline got massacred by those grenade launchers, which really softened up the Dark Elf frontlines so that even state troops, which are not very good infantry, like, okay, well, for their price point, they're good infantry. I'm not trying to shit talk them. State troops are really solid, but I meant like 300 gold defensive infantry could just walk through, so the Dread Spears are so depleted from the Outriders grenade launchers. Outriders got pretty darn good value across the board. The War Wagons did not. War Wagons got completely destroyed by those bolt throwers and just couldn't find a home. But Franz, the Empire Knights, the Outriders, and the front line did fantastically. Recognize European superiority. So, it all comes down to the final game. Rainy Frog gets knocked down. Sir Groot showing strength in the Empire Kite without War Wagons. I mean, he had 2 War Wagons, but they got a combined 450 value. Ooh. And that doesn't mean War Wagons aren't strong. Rainy Frog just very effectively countered them, and Sir Groot pulled a fast one on him with the Outriders grenade launchers that I sure as hell wasn't expecting. He did really well there. So, last game, AC Maiden versus Qualaduck. Who is going on to the semifinals to face South America? Will it be the East NA crew or the UK? You could have... never mind. I don't know how to set it up without anybody thinking I'm spoiling anything. Last game, ODM's AC Maiden versus XMT's Koala Duck. Khorne and Chaos Dwarves, two factions we haven't seen at all today. So I'm happy to see it. If you want East NA to win, you are rooting for Khorne. If you want the UK to win, you're rooting for the Chaos Dwarves. Let's go. For the Chaos Dwarves, we have a front line of Chaos Dwarf Warriors. I brought you over with me, right? Yes, I did. All right, making sure you weren't still on the bracket thing. Goblin Laborer backline, 1 Infernal Ironsworn, triple Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses, 2 Bull Centaur Renders with great weapons, and a Sorcerer Prophet of Fire with Burning Head and Flaming Sword of Ruin. For Khorne, it is a Beast Bash. Oh my god, that is a low model count. We have Warhounds of Khorne, Chaos Warhounds of Khorne, 2 Blood Crushers of Khorne, and then a shitload of Minos. Great weapons and regular, 1 Marauder, and Valkia the Bloody up in the sky. Who's your vote? That's not fair because I know what team wins. So now that we're at 2-2, I know who wins this game because the semifinals are getting scheduled, and I had to help them with that. So I do know who wins this game now. I've never seen this game before. Minotaurs, this one has a movement order, so it didn't get a full charge, but the Minos that are getting the charge are slamming through these Chaos Dwarf Warriors. They do have charge defense versus large, but only if they're standing still, which they were not. So the Minos are already through the front line. Chaos Warhounds are teaming up with the Minos to get through these Bull Centaur Renders. And Blood Crushers are just, it looks, right now like Blood Crushers are just being used as bait so that the Minotaurs can get on the Bull Centaur Renders and the Blood Crushers just die for the great cause. Now, Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses are firing into our Mino friends, already just demolishing a couple of them, but there's not a lot to keep these Blunderbusses online. They'll have an impressive first and second volley, but after that, they will be stopped in place. The Infernal Ironsworn and these Goblin Laborers are going to have to be pulled up to bail these guys out, as the little Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses that could tried. But now they are all attacked by Minos. Bounce power is already tipping in the favor of Khorne, and I do agree. Bull Centaur Renders are getting teamed up on and massacred across the board. Valkia is running rampant. Sorcerer Prophet of Fire is going to have to try and turn this game around somehow, though I don't know how much he can do. Blood Crushers are around him. And Blood Crushers having trouble getting through Goblin Laborers is about all I need to make my point that Blood Crushers suck. But man, the Minotaurs are juiced, as the Chaos Dwarves are just in mass exodus. Infernal Ironsworn coming back now. Chaos Dwarf Blunderbuss is still firing at point-blank range, trying to make everything okay, trying to bail themselves out of a bad time. And the Minotaurs are actually running out of steam a little bit. Goblin Laborer is coming up to bail them out. But if the Sorcerer Prophet's around, if he can charge over here and start routing some of these things off, he can free up Blunderbusses to keep firing, especially this one over here. But more Blood Crushers are coming into the fray. They're currently fighting Chaos Dwarf Warriors, but they could come back here. And Khorne could run out of momentum. They're a very momentum-based faction. Flaming Sword of Ruin is out to give these Infernal Ironsworn some stats. These are regular Chaos Warhounds of Khorne. They're not Fleshhounds. Their leadership is a little more fickle. The Blood Crushers are demonic, which if they get low enough, they'll just kill themselves off outright. There go the Minotaurs. Blunderbuss is still trying to get some space over here. Can they get back online? Valkia is trying to help her Minotaurs kill off the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire. And the Sorcerer Prophet doesn't have as healing that you're used to seeing, because Khorne doesn't have spells. So there's no way for him to use that Chalice of Blood or whatever to heal himself back up. These Blunderbusses still trying to fire. They're a little too close to get that done, but they don't want to separate too much from their infantry support or they'll just get locked down. Infernal Ironsworn continuing to fight against the Minotaurs, and the balance of power is creeping back and back and back into the favor of Khorne. Now it is either dead even or slightly Khorne favored on the balance of power. I'm not sure if I agree. This is such a messy fight, I can't make a quick assessment on who's winning and who's losing. Blood Crushers helped get that northern Chaos Dwarf Blunderbuss shut down. We only have one that's even still here, and it's currently getting beaten down by Minos and recharged by dogs, so it'll probably get going soon. Chaos Dwarf Lord is diving down with some Minotaurs, trying to rout them, but ooh, a tier 2 army ability from Khorne makes them unbreakable. And that is actually a huge boon as they're getting massive damage onto the Sorcerer Prophet. Then a Spear of Sleipnir is going to go through the Infernal Ironsworn, getting decent poke damage down to them. And Khorne is taking another lead on that balance of power, though they are looking so tattered for doing it. They have a half-health Blood Crusher. That is great. all of their Minos are significantly damaged, and they have a half-health dog. Meanwhile, for the Chaos Dwarves, they have a third health Sorcerer Prophet and a full health Infernal Ironsworn that's currently getting rear charged by Minos, but it's going to try and hold on. Valkia is winning this fight with the Sorcerer Prophet. He probably has to back out of here and do his support from the sky. Landing might be a bit of a problem for him. Khorne is staying alive enough to run down anything from the Chaos Dwarves that routes. And Sorcerer Prophet, can he get back off the ground? How much damage he took is very concerning, but if he can get back into the sky, at least he can offer spell support. At least he can be a leadership boon for the entire Dwarven roster. As the Infernal Ironsworn are doing the work of the gods right now, but they just need their Sorcerer Prophet to stay alive as he continues to try and get away from these Minos who will just not let him get into the sky. Infernal Ironsworn continuing to fight. Blunderbusses and stuff rallying in the distance. Even some Bull Centaur Renders are back, but there's the route in for the Sorcerer Prophet. Minotaurs are keeping on top of him. They will not rout no matter what happens. They're going to beat him to death and probably seal this game at that point. The Sorcerer Prophet not being able to get back in the sky is really brutal. Because, like, one or two good burning heads on Chaos Warhounds here and there could have routed all them off. Then it would quickly just be Valkia and a Skull Crusher versus these Infernal Ironsworn. So yeah, I think the Lord Snipe actually does decide the game. Because I could see Chaos Dwarves winning it if the Lord hadn't died. And that was a very close game. But it is decided now. And in a nail-biter, East NA will prevail. And the UK will slink back to Europe, where Spain and Italy are still repping the banner of that side of the Atlantic. All right, there's no way the Infernal Ironsworn kill Valkyrie, right? Right, guys? There we go. Army losses. I was getting a little scared there for a second. I'm like, wait, I know who wins. What the fuck? What? Is the Infernal Ironsworn actually starting to beat her up? All right. Blood Crushers, bad value and then decent value. Honestly, I'm surprised even one of them got decent value, but it was mostly the Mino show. Minos and Dogs did great. Valkia did fine, too. For Qualiduck, his Lord did okay. His Bull Centaur Renders did good value-wise. Infernal Ironsworn were really good. Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses did a lot of damage, even in their brief time alive. Chaos Dwarf Warriors held. But the Lord just couldn't get back off the ground after the Minos closed in on him. So that is that. Let's do the wrap-up stuff. Well played by all players, but it is a 3-2 result in the favor of East NA. And then we will update this once and for all. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop. All semifinal results are known, and it is guaranteed now with the fall of the UK that we will have a Battle of the Atlantic finals. Europe is figuring out who their representative is between Spain and Italy. And the Americas are figuring out their shit between South America and East NA. Both those will be streamed when I have the replays, probably next week, though I'm not rushing the teams, not rushing them. But if I get all 5 replays, then I'll just find a time. So, I mean, if they get them done by Friday, then I'll cast them Friday. I'll cast them when I have them. But those will be our semifinals. There's 3 streams left in this series. South America, East NA, Spain, and Italy. If I had to be honest, I think Spain is a heavy favorite out of these 4. Italy did surprise me. They played very, very well. I don't know the players well enough from Italy to know if that was a one-time fluke and they're all just feeling themselves, or if that is actually their level, then Spain will have a hard time. But I still think Spain will win. If you watch their games versus France, the 5 Spanish players are playing fucking nuts right now. Like, they just look really clean. So I think Spain's a heavy favorite out of the 4 left. East NA was pretty impressive. South America was pretty impressive. But my off-the-cuff power rankings of watching all the streams would probably be Spain, Italy, and then East NA and South America would be pretty equal for me. I saw some mistakes in some of their gameplay that could be punished. But yeah, pretty good upsets so far. I'd say on the bottom bracket, we had 2 upsets. The top bracket, I don't know. East NA and UK were very similar in skill. West NA and South America were very similar in skill, so I'm not, like, shocked that either of those went those ways. I mean, it went 3-2, so pretty clearly. they are all quite good. But we will see. I'm trying to decide whether to root against Team Spain, just to root for the underdogs, or to root for Team Spain so that my analysis can be correct. I don't know. Green one's on Spain, though, and that makes me not want to root for them. He's a bully. He hurts my feelings, and he distracts me during streams by yelling at me. Alright. As a dismissal, because these streams are short and I always feel awkward about ending them, we have a funny haha bug to show you that will turn into a video of its own. But it is still funny. It is still haha. Root for me, hummus? I'll try to. Alright, you guys want to see a funny bug? I was playing a game before bed with Pigman. Happens at 4 minutes, so give me a second. Happens at 4 minutes. You're not missing anything. I was not playing the best. I was blobbing up too much. Too many things turned into blobs, so the fire and rockets were doing a lot of damage. The late game comes down to Zhao Ming versus Ikka Claw. So it ends up being a close game, but it's not really worth a cast, unfortunately, because like Grand Cathay is just not very good for viewership. Alright. So, in the state of the game, the Grand Cathay box is still intact. I'm still trying to shut down their ranged. And I have reassembled some Jezzails, right? Reassembled some Jezzails. Now I also have the Avalanche Mortars who are near the trees. Looks good. Looks good. Oh no, come on. Pigman, I'm not casting the whole game. I'm casting the thing I told you about last night to check for. Now, if you want to see a funny bug, my Avalanche Mortars are going into the trees. Now tell me, my friends, do you see anything around here of Cathays? Do you see anything around here of Cathays? The Avalanche Mortars turn. Hey, what's that bow and arrow for? Why do you have a bow and arrow? You're firing. What are you firing at? Let's check their range. I don't see any Cathay units in that range. What are you shooting at? Why would you possibly fire? Well, whatever they fire at, I'm sure it won't be directly at something very important to me. Hey. 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 What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? There's nothing there! There's nothing there! What were you shooting at? What is wrong with you? I immediately give them movement orders just to stop them from shooting my fucking Jezzails! What is wrong with you? There's nothing there! Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I need those Jezzails to kill his fire rate rockets! You could shoot anything! You could shoot anything else! Shoot my Skaven slaves! Shoot the rat ogres! I don't care! Don't shoot the Jezzails, you stupid fucks! Why were you shooting there? What did you do? Pigman, that's what I told you to go back and look at 410. That's what I told you to go look at. I was like, what? What are you shooting at? They rally in the woods, and they're like, let's fire a shot off for no reason. Boom. Oh, that's heading towards our team. It won't hit anything important. Oh, it hit the Jezzails. Oh, it hit the Jezzails. Oh no. Oh my stars. Well, surely Master Ickett won't find out that we just completely nuked our own fucking Jezzails for no reason. Oh, Ickett found out. Oh, Ickett was pissed. Thankfully for your shitty little asses, Zhao Ming found out first, and Pigman Zhao Ming ran them down and killed them. I've never been so happy for Zhao Ming to kill my avalanche mortars. I'm like, good! They were apparently a hindrance. It was so fucked. Oh my god. So, hopefully you all enjoyed that. It will be its own standalone bug video for fun. Yeah. Okay. I am gonna get going. If you see all these replays and you're wondering what they are, if you weren't paying attention on my Discord, we do currently have the Warhammer Olympics going on. It is a series of challenges, like how quickly can you kill Count Noctilus on his Necrofex, or how quickly can you kill Sigvald. Things like that. People submit their best times to me, and the top 3 factions of each category will get some points. We will determine mathematically what is the best faction in all of Warhammer 3 with that metric. So people are still sending me their replays. But it's a series of challenges. Like this one is the Giant Slayer. What factions can kill Count Noctilus the fastest? And I did all my attempts because people are sending me replays, and some people were accusing me hurtfully of cheating and stealing their ideas. So I just had to submit all of my replays right away. So yeah. For this one, I took 2 Sepulchral Stalkers, put them in the Vanguard, gave them all triple gold chevrons, and then I took Cetra with the missile damage spell to buff up these guys, and then I use Jaff's Incantation of Curse Blades Overcast to give Cetra anti-large, and then I just try and Raffle Stomp Noctilus real fast. Because he gets a summon, but Cetra can push through it with a Chariot super easily, and I can kill him in, I think it's 49 seconds when he dies, and then I end the replay. But my time has already been beaten by several people, which is why I feel fine showing it. So I won't even be in the top 3 for that challenge. I think I'm still in the top 3 for killing the Infernal Iron Swarm. Yeah, I think I'm still in the top 3 with that one. That one's at 20-something seconds. But, yeah. So, if you're a campaign player and you want to try out some neat tech versus AI, but you're intimidated on getting in on tournaments, this is a challenge that doesn't really do much tournament stuff. It's just like fun unit combos, fun ideas to kill off stuff quickly. So, yeah. Okay, goodbye everybody. Goodbye.